Point four, we're talking oil. Saudi Arabia stops oil capacity expansion.
Yeah. So the Saudis are still, a gigantic oil producer, and they produce about 12 million barrels a day. Worldwide, crude oil production right now is right around 95 million barrels a day, give or take a little bit. Um, and so, the Saudis are, like 14% of that. It's a big number. And they had been investing to increase the maximum sustainable capacity from 12 million to 13 million barrels. And last week, the Saudi government told Aramco, which is their national oil company, cut it out. Don't stop work. Don't spend to expand. We're keeping capacity at 12 million barrels a day. Now, it's really easy for people to say, okay, but is that really a big deal, right? You've got like 95 million barrels a day, and you're losing 1 million, but like why is this a big deal? Who cares, right? It would be like, if somebody snuck into your refrigerator and took 1% of the milk you had in there. You're like, okay, well, I lost 1% of my milk. Is that a big deal? Well, on the milk, it's not a big deal, but here's why it is a big deal in the oil market. It's because oil gets priced at the margin, right? And so when you have a world that has increasing energy demands, and just think about this for a minute, right? And there is a straight line between energy usage and material quality of life. You have almost 3 billion people between China and India alone, right? 3 billion out of the 8 billion people on the planet who are saying, we do not want to live like this anymore. We want a higher quality of life. That means more energy usage. Right now, that's hydrocarbons, right? That's where we are. Until we get more nuclear plants set up, or until there's cold fusion, or a better answer than the current technology for things like windmills or solar panels, which are not effective baseload generation. Sorry, I'm not trying to tick off the environmentalists. This is just these are just the facts of what materials are energy dense and which ones aren't. And so you have a huge part of the planet that really wants to live a better life, and that means more energy usage. Today, that means more hydrocarbons. And so when you have increasing demand, but you don't have increasing supply, right, prices will adjust, and oil gets priced at the margin. Again, just a fancy way of saying it's the last barrel of oil, right? It's somebody saying, I really want this, I really need this, that changes the price of oil. So as crazy as it sounds, right, is losing one out of 95 million barrels of production a big, yeah, it actually is a big deal. And it's also a big deal when it's the Saudis. And the reason I point that out is for decades, they have been very sophisticated and intelligent at managing oil supply to keep prices within a certain range. That's the Saudis telling the world prices are not coming down below where they want it to be. And they definitely don't want pricing anywhere close to $60 a barrel. And the reason for that is that's kind of the price where it makes sense for US fracking operations to really come online, right? And so, sorry, I actually said that wrong. They don't want, when pricing gets above that too much, US fracking operations, the way I phrased it was wrong, have an incentive to come into the market. But
Sure.
The point of all this, and I think I've done a poor job explaining it, is that the Saudis are sophisticated when it comes to this stuff. And it's not just that you're losing that million barrels of capacity. That's them signaling to the world, we're going to keep oil prices high and we have the power to do it. And so here we are. So get ready for higher oil prices. For people who are annoyed at paying more for fuel oil to heat your home, or paying $4 or $5, or in California $6 a gallon for gas, and if you're annoyed when you fill your tank, the best thing that we would recommend is own energy stocks, right? Yep. You can own oil production, oil transportation, uranium. We have a huge, I personally have a huge energy exposure because I'm annoyed when I go to fill my car and it's expensive. I might as well sell myself the gas.
You took the question from me. I know DKI, large energy exposure in the portfolio. So I was going to ask about that, but you're a step ahead, Gary, as always.
Oh, it's, I figured the question might be coming, but the point of all of this, right, is for the people listening to this who are saying, wait a minute, I don't want to deal with higher gas prices, higher oil prices, higher energy prices. It will affect your electric rates. The best thing to do is to own the stocks that are going to benefit from this. And so, yeah, your expenses are going to be higher. Your energy expenses will be higher over the next year. But you could make more than that in your portfolio and be able to afford it.